Let's start with the patient filter setting. In this section, users can create any number of filters that they may need to see. Filters created with the shared component, such as this one that I'm selecting, notice I have shared, would require the user to have that security role assigned to their user. This is the role that we would recommend practices limit to an admin, maybe 1 or 2, in order to limit the number of shared filters that are created. As you can see, we have just a few filters here, but if you have several users creating shared filters, this list could become very lengthy and could burden users. To create a new filter, users would click on New. They would give their filter a title. This description shows in the hover text. I'll show that in just a moment. They can label it as active or inactive for their user account. If the user has access to the shared role, they will have access to make this a shared filter. However, for most users, this will be a grayed out option that is not available. And finally, for your user, when you log in, if you want this to be your default filter, then you would simply check that box to make this your default filter. A filter that's created and not shared would just have the same components, but would not have the shared checkbox. As we look at the various selections for your filter, notice that I have nothing selected on any of these columns. And I've labeled this as all locations plus providers. My intent is I don't care about the type, the status, the resource, or the group. If there's an appointment scheduled for my calendar dates that I want it displayed. By not selecting anything within these categories, I'm telling this filter that I want everything. For example, in this particular filter, I've indicated no show and canceled. And notice my status column has a check mark indicating I've made some selections, and that is no show and canceled for that column. So any appointments with the status of no show or canceled, regardless of type, because I haven't specified a type, regardless of resource, regardless of group, I haven't specified any of those. Any in a no show or canceled state would display on this list when I select it. I can also add my tooltip so that when I hover over the filter here, it's a reminder of what this filter contains if I need clarity. Users have the ability to delete and copy filters as well. Just keep in mind that as you start to narrow down what data you're calling on, you want to be careful not to isolate data elements that you're expecting to pull in. Once you save all your filters, they'll appear in this drop-down list. By default, whenever you load the check-in, check-out dashboard, the item that you've indicated is your default is going to display. Maybe it is here. I've navigated back to a day where I know I have multiple patients with varied statuses. If I wanted to only show the no-show and canceled within this list, I could select that. I can hover over the various filters to see my tooltip, and I can pull lists for rescheduled or whatever I've configured, whatever meets my needs.